My wife, 42, and I'm 44, have been married for 19 years. We have been together for 25 years. We have 3 great kids under the age of 14. In 2015, she lost her mother to cancer, and in 2016, her father to cancer. This sends her into a deep depression. For the following 2 years, I took care of the kids while she worked. Dead bedroom starts during this time. Nothing makes her happy. Now, because she doesn't talk to me, I start playing video games when the kids go to bed. After 2 years, she starts coming out of her depression. She talks more and wants to do stuff with the family. We start being physical again. This went on for a year, then I lost my father. This sent me into a depression because we were very close. Like my wife, I closed myself off to her. I started playing video games more, and I ignored my wife. I never stopped saying I love you, giving hugs, or taking her out. We started sleeping in different rooms because our son had a medical condition where we had to keep an eye on him at night. So I slept in his room. I moved my Xbox in there and played video games for a couple of hours till I fell asleep. Then COVID happens. My kids' school goes remote, and my wife started working from home. My wife's job required her to start looking for supplies to reopen her business when the restrictions stopped. She starts working closely with another member of her company. After a few months, she starts being distant and stops communicating with me. I try to keep telling her I love her and buying small gifts to show my love and appreciation. We decided that in 2020, one school, we would keep our kids at home to remote learning because our son had a serious medical condition. I was so busy with my kids' school, I really didn't notice the distance getting worse until much later. Dead bedroom starts again. Then in the summer, our 2021, I started to work for Lyft because we needed extra money. I worked on the days while she worked from home so she could be close to our son's school. In the fall of 2021, I picked up this lady from the airport and drove her to her hotel downtown. During this ride, she talks to her female friend on the phone about her meeting her affair partner to have sex because they are both in town for business. She said her husband is at home with kids and is playing video games. They haven't had sex in over a year. He is too busy to know she's cheating. I started thinking this sounds like us. So I started being more affectionate and more loving. I'm already a loving and affectionate person. The distance is getting worse. I wrote a letter telling her I love her and I know there is a distance between us. I want to work it out, but she has to be willing to work on us. She said she will try to be better. For the next year, she shows hardly any affection and doesn't want sex because her depression pills have given her no sex drive. We barely hold hands. She doesn't say she loves me unless I say it first. When we are in the car together, she sleeps so she doesn't talk. D-Day was May 4th of this year. My wife went into the office. I went to work and I texted her during the day. No response. Then she finally called me and I told her I had been texting her all day. She tells me she never got my text because of the signal in her office. She has Google Chat, so I will message her there. It will show up on her work computer, but still no responses. She gets home, and after we put the kids to sleep, she takes a shower. This is where I finally broke down, checked her phone. Now, May 4th is a big Star Wars day. May the 4th be with you. So I checked her texts from me, and it was true, she didn't get them until she left the office. I checked Google Chat, and this is where I found her cheating. She woke up that day and messaged him on Google Chat all the May the 4th gifts. I am a Star Wars fan also. Did I get one? Absolutely not. So I checked all their messages, and the affair has been going on for almost 3 years. There were tons of I miss you, and I love you. I feel so stupid. I am completely devastated. This guy moved to Kansas in 2020, but comes into the office 1 week a month since he works remotely the other weeks. I guess when they would have Zoom meetings with each other to get their business open, he began to flirt. In the past, guys would flirt with her. She would shoot them down. This guy wasn't as handsome as me. I'm not 10. I have a little dad bod. Maybe I'm a 6 or 7. He was a 4. She began to flirt back. Then they would go to lunch together. Then the lunches turned to going to his hotel room for lunchtime sex and telling me she had work late to have more sex. I even saw a text to her friend saying the sex wasn't better. She just craves the attention. So I screenshot everything to myself. I didn't say anything. I was having surgery in the summer and needed her help. After surgery, we decided to move closer to family. I checked her phone again in October. I guess the relationship came to an end in June before my surgery. He was mad that she was taking time to care for me and the kids. I was wondering why she became more affectionate and loving and wanted to have a sexy time with me after I healed. Last week, we got into a huge argument because she started being distant and wasn't communicating again. So I yelled and told her I knew she cheated with a coworker. She denied it and said I was overreacting. Then I shoved the evidence in her face. Then she stopped yelling and putting me down and started crying. I just left and went to my sister's house. I came back home to be with the kids for Christmas. Then I will leave again. I told her I was filing for divorce after the new year. She cried and asked who would drive her to work and pick her up, who will help her with the kids. I told her to ask her a fair partner. Then she starts crying, more saying we can work it out and do marriage counseling. I will seek full custody when I file the divorce paperwork, also alimony and child support. 25 years I feel is wasted. Story number 2. I'm beginning to think that there's something wrong with me. My last 2 partners have cheated on me. The first was a very serious relationship. We lived together, we talked about marriage and buying a house. He even took 2 pictures of us as kids and photoshopped them together to show what our kids might look like one day. The result was terrifying but hilarious, and I had it as the background of my phone for a month. I walked in on him sleeping with my stepsister. Now she's pregnant, due in near future, and he's with her. I know he's not happy. I know he regrets what he did. I know that he loved me, and none of that stopped him from fucking my stepsister in our bed. I've spent so long now being upset at her and writing him off as just a bad decision that I wasted time on, but now I find myself mourning what we had. My stepsister and I grew up together and have loved each other most of our lives, so it felt like that was the betrayal, but he and I chose each other. Out of all the people on the earth, we looked each other in the eyes, committed to each other, and made the promise to stay faithful. And he lied, and he lied, and he lied, and he lied. And then a few months ago, another guy came into my life, and for the first time in ages, I felt hopeful. I thought to myself that maybe I could actually move on and live my life. I wasn't in love with him, but he was the kind of man I thought I could fall in love with. We were exclusive for about a month. Before we made the decision to be exclusive, I told him everything that had happened with my first ex and told him that I could never be with another cheater. I wake up on New Year's Day to a text saying we're done. When I tried getting in touch, I found out he'd blocked me everywhere. Turns out he met someone at a New Year's party and hooked up with her. Instead of telling me, he just blocked me from everywhere and sent a lackey to message me a few weeks later with the real story and a half-assed apology. I want to be angry, and maybe a part of me is. But as I'm sitting here, I'm just thinking, what if it's me? What if I'm just not lovable? What if it's never going to happen for me? The thing is, I've been a pretty confident person. I went through bullshit as a kid, but I got through it and grew stronger. I'm pretty good looking. I've been told that I'm fun. I hold down a good job and make decent money. I also live my life according to my values. I've always put my family and partner first, because that's just how I believed it should be done, and I thought that I would be prioritized in turn. I've lost most of my family because they'd rather have my stepsister's baby in their life than me. My friends have been fair weather, for the most part, and I know that I'm a laughingstock in my friend group as much as they pretend to pity me to my face. I feel the little spark I've always had fading. I don't chime in on conversations anymore. I've stopped putting on cute clothes when I go out. I don't plan anything, so I don't have anything to be disappointed about. Soon I'll be the same age as my mom was when she died. I never knew her, but I've always loved her, thinking of her watching over me. I don't remember the funeral, but it was one of those funerals where there wasn't a dry eye in the house. She lit up a room, and people tell me she was a good woman. In my worst moments, I wonder what it would be like if I died right now. Would anyone cry? Would anyone care?